What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're talking about powdery fragrances. Not everybody's favorite thing, but some of us really enjoy a nice powdery fragrance, whether it's due to florals, tonka bean, certain woody notes, like there's lavender, there's different nuances in fragrance oils with skin chemistry reactions that will create a nice soft powdery accord or an overall aggressive baby powder accord. So in this video, I picked out 10 of my personal favorites, not the end all be all 10, just 10 of my personal favorites, my opinion, of course, of some really good powdery fragrances. If that's your forte and you're looking to try some stuff, maybe check these out. Stay tuned. I smelled the previous version in the past and kind of put off getting it for a long time, and I'm kind of glad I did. Things happen for a reason, because the newest version's a little bit spicier than the previous. We're talking about Valentino Uomo Intense. So he has the studded collar. This one's got some serious nutmeg, adding a nice spicy accord to this beautiful, rich, powdery iris leather combo, a little bit of sweetness. In my opinion, superior to Dior Homme Intense. Because Dior Homme Intense isn't actually my favorite iris-based Dior Homme, which my favorite one is in this video. Because I'm a big fan of that line, but I think this is superior the way the leather comes across with the hefty dose of nutmeg here that doesn't dry it out too much. Nutmeg's kind of a dry, woody, spicy note in fragrance most of the time. Anyways, that's how I usually interpret it, how it comes across to me here. Just really adds a nice, warm, cozy spice to the fragrance. This is makeup bag waxy powdery, but the sweetness and that kind of darker, almost resin-like leather accord that they have here just gives it so much depth, character, complexity, and honestly, a little bit of a masculine tinge for being such a powdery floral fragrance. This is just phenomenal stuff with great performance. It's Valentino Uomo Intense. The newest release from Gisada. This is good stuff. It doesn't get talked about enough. This is Gisada Titanium. Fingerprint magnet of a bottle, I gotta say. It is in the same bottle as Ambassador and Ambassador Intense, but it smells nothing like either of them. This has a little bit of Le Male Parfum, meets a little bit of Parfums de Marly Pegasus. Like, that's the easiest way to relate, and people will naturally, because of the bottle, want to relate it to Pegasus. It doesn't have that cooling lactonic feel, but it does have a creaminess. It has a nice powdery tone. Of course, that's why it's in this video. It's got a nice spiced accord. I believe it's some cardamom in here. This is good stuff. Nobody's talking about this one. As far as I know, man, it's good. It's been a little bit since I've smelled this one. Good release. Really, really good release for them this year. You gotta like powdery, though. It's a very powdery fragrance. Again, Le Male Parfum meets Pegasus type of thing. Powdery, spicy, a little ambery. There's a creaminess to this, like I said before, but no real cooling effect or milky lactonic feel. So, you know, not for everyone, but when you try it, you might absolutely have to have a bottle. I mean, I really should avoid saying not for everyone with every fragrance in this video, because none of these are for no fragrances for everyone, but especially powdery dominant fragrances across the board. It's not for everyone, you know. Some people don't want to smell that powdery. Some people can't stand powdery. But if you enjoy powdery, one of the better releases to come out in a while that's extremely powdery. It's Gisada Titanium. Still my favorite version of this fragrance. Some love the original more, some love the Intense more. Prolom Low, my big 5-ounce bottle with the baby blue back, is my favorite. I only wear it during the summer. It's one of my favorite summer fragrances. The ginger that they add to this DNA brightens up, adds like this crisp, bright effect without making it a really spicy fragrance. It's not a creamy type of ginger. You still have that neroli, iris, soapy, powdery type of smell. This is just so good. If you've yet to have an opportunity to smell this, you can find it for a good price. I don't know what the link situation is below. I'm going to try to have it linked and see if it's in stock for you guys. I don't know what pricing is currently on this. It's been a long time since I've looked, but oh my, is this a good fragrance. This is such a good fragrance. In fact, I'm going to wear Armani Wet Stone today. I'm going to the gym in a little bit, so let's be mindful here. We're just going to do 2 sprays for now, but I'm going to refresh after the gym with more sprays than that. I haven't wore this yet this year. If there was ever a fragrance that, in the moment, let's go ahead and spray it on skin, it's this one. I'm telling you, the way the ginger comes across in this with the iris, it's so good. It's so good. Such a fresh, bright, summer-appropriate, powdery floral. God, this is so good. It doesn't have the warm spice, the peppered heaviness, or even like this kind of leathered amber accord that the original has. That's actually a heavier fragrance than it gets credit for. This is the way to go. For the freshness, you want Prolom Low. Now we're getting into some creamy iris. This is one of my favorites. This is another one I like more than Dior Homme Intense. Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Parfum. A lot of people's going to want to say Boisé here. Reserve Privé. Yes, Reserve Privé is phenomenal, because some of you might be wondering, why didn't you go with Reserve Privé? Especially in the past where I've touted it as, if you're just going to get one, just get that one. It's this plus Boisé and add booze, and you get Reserve Privé. Because what's different with this and Boisé is more of a woody, spicy powdery iris. This is more of a creamy, balmy type of iris, orris butter. The Tolu Balsam really shines in this one. It's a creamy, rich, semi-casual type of iris. Like, it dresses up just as well as something like a Dior Homme Intense, but I feel like it dresses down a little bit better. It's not as formal of a smell. And it's due to all that creamy, resinous, balmy richness. This is so good. This is still, for me personally, if I'm picking one of the Iris Gentleman fragrances, this is the one. Even though I believe if you don't have any of them and you're going to get one, you should probably get Reserve Privé. Gun to my head, I think it's still this one for me personally, though. Because it's that balminess. I keep going back to that word. It's so beautiful. If you've never experienced this one, I highly encourage it. 8+ hours of longevity, easy. Not an overwhelming projection, but a nice robust sillage that trails and lingers really well. It's Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Parfum. Warm, powdery without being spicy, a little woodsy. There's actual powdery notes listed in this note breakdown. I haven't worn this fragrance in a long time because it's a lot. It's extremely powdery and it's extremely strong. But if you want the intense powder bomb experience, Starry Nights from Montale. This is a game changer. Again, not for everyone, a little on the feminine side. It's, I forgot which floral note, as well as an actual powdery notes, oil, fantasy oil, accord, synthetic. It's really, really powdery, guys. See, my atomizer's terrible. God, it has that astringence to it. My atomizer's garbage on this, as you can see. It's like a squirt gun type of thing. It doesn't really mist well. There's something wrong with, from the start it was like that. It's a tester. That's why the thing's not going through the collar. God, it smells great though out in the air. God, you gotta like powdery though. It's ambery. It's a little rosy. Now that I smell it out in the air, that's the floral. It's a rosy, thick, jammy type of smell. Super, super powder bomb. Again, leans on the feminine side. Nuclear performance. This is, of all of them, if there was, well, there's one other one that probably the most challenging of the bunch. I would call this the second most challenging of the 10 we're discussing here, because not all of them are easygoing designers. We got to have some complexity and some nuance and challenge for the senses in this video as well, if we're going to talk powdery fragrances, which are already a niche within a niche. So if you haven't sampled this one yet and you want to try one of the more ultimate powder bomb experiences with depth and character too, it's not just powder, check out Starry Nights. Now after that, let's class things up a bit. I believe it's discontinued. Don't quote me on that. I believe it to be. I know the original is for sure, so I'm sure the Intense is as well. It's Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense, big 100 ml bottle. The easiest way to describe this is a nice, rich, powdery patchouli resin fragrance. Myrrh still shines in this one just like the original. It's not near as soapy, but you get a nice earth green-like patchouli. Doesn't add too much creaminess. It's not a chocolatey type of patchouli, but there is a nice, strong, powdered nuance here. It's very formal. The black bottle offers a more elegant aesthetic to the bottle. The profile matches the bottle. It's a more elegant aesthetic overall, visually and olfactively. It's just, they tie in together so well. So good. Powdery patchouli. It's really the best way to describe this one, I find. Again, not for everyone. I need to stop saying that. It's just such a habit because when I smell it, it's like, man, I can just imagine some people that don't like stuff like this that I'm just a sucker for. Hence why we're doing this topic in the first place, because it's been a long time since I did a powdery fragrance video or an iris fragrance, because not all these iris fragrances. But great performance. Another one, 8+ hours. Lingering sillage. Can be overwhelming if you spray this one heavy. This is a less is more kind of fragrance. Leave room for discovery. This one trails. This one lingers. This one makes an impact and a profound statement of assertiveness and elegance at the same time. So it doesn't need to be screamed and just abundantly overtake someone's senses. This is a less is more fragrance. Again, powdery patchouli. Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense. One of the more underappreciated sensual fragrances ever to exist. It's a hit in this household. It's La Nuit de l'Homme L'Intense. The powdered spicy cardamom mixed with a fantasy iris note and a nice kind of slightly earthy violet note. So you get the slight earthy tones of violet with the powdery nuance and the lipstick waxiness of the fantasy iris note with, of course, the intense powdery tone that comes with the fantasy iris note. And it's a softer fragrance. It's a more intimate setting for maybe 5-hour longevity, hour projection, intimate, come hither, bring her close type of aroma. Specific settings and uses for this fragrance, guys. You hear me? Don't go reading the forums and seeing this weak performance crap and thinking, oh, that's a garbage fragrance. Oh my God, don't be so foolish to think things like that. I'm telling you, because this is magic. Magic in this bottle. Pure magic. You get a lot of the violet at first. It transitions into cardamom and iris. There's a nice soft vanilla, which also adds to the powder. Like there's a lot of notes here that offer different levels of powdered nuance, powdered sweetness, powdered earthiness, floral type of powder, a little ambery. There's so much going on here, so much depth. It definitely leans feminine. This is more metrosexual man type of stuff. Modern man dresses a certain way, but I'm telling you, trust me on this one, please. Intimate settings, guys. I don't want to paint a graphic picture here. Intimate settings, the nightcap, a intimate night with your lady. Okay, that's about as far as I can go here. 1-2 sprays, magic. Magic. Don't let the internet ruin this fragrance for you. It's not easy to find anymore, so it's not like you can just go scoop it up or go test it out at Sephora back when it was in production. But if you find this one for a great price, testers on eBay and things like that, because that's what this was, came in a white tester box. 60 ml, 40 ml, plenty. Plenty, because you're only going to wear it sparingly and situationally. If you're doing anything as far as the advice in the situations I'm painting the picture here for. I'll never go through this bottle. Magic. I can't state it enough. I will have this in the thumbnail. I'm probably the biggest advocate in the online fragrance community for La Nuit de l'Homme L'Intense because I state it one last time before we go into the next segment. La Nuit de l'Homme L'Intense is magic. From the magic to the challenge. This is the one. This is the challenge. Mancera the Oud. I don't know how many of you have smelled that. Put that as a base. Now add violet, add rose, add iris, add intense spices, add earthy nuances. Just build upon that kind of funky, very Middle Eastern vibe oud rose fragrance, and you're going to get Mancera's Black Prestigium. This is a wow factor. Another one I'll never even come close to putting a sizable dent in this bottle. And let me tell you why. Because this is so situational. This is an impressive, so impressive. This is one of the 3 best smelling iris fragrances I've ever put my nose on. Possibly the best. It's up there with ATH Homme, which I think is masterfully done. Shout outs to Aaron Terrence Hughes. He worked magic with that. That's way more wearable than this, by the way. Dior Homme Parfum. I have to put my own business over pleasure up there. There's some magic out there with iris, guys, okay? With that said, this is one of the more challenging because it's leather, it's earthy, it's spicy. There's a multitude of florals here. There's a funky, rich oud to this. It's immensely powerful and potent. You can two spray this one and damn near fill a room. Depending on your skin chemistry, you might. You might. So that's my point, is seldom will I have and do I have opportunities to where I think it best suits this fragrance. But when you get the opportunity to show out Black Prestigium, this is an impressive showstopper of a fragrance. This is one of the most impressive, challenging, yet just, I don't know, overall satisfying olfactive experiences for someone that's looking for something different that's not run of the norm and you don't want the redundancy of the designer world or the mass marketed niche. This is going to be a treat for someone like that. Mancera, Black Prestigium. Then we transition right back into my wife's favorite powdery fragrance, probably. It's her favorite Armani Code. It's mine as well. Armani Code Eau de Parfum. I know there's a new version. I know there's a 2024. I've heard it's a little different. I keep getting asked about it. I'm going to have to try it. And of course, if I try it, I'm going to put some content out, whether it's in a live stream for a live first impression or as part of something in a haul, whatever. But there will be some kind of content if and when I try it. I record fragrance content. It's what I do. But back to this one. Lavender, vanilla, tonka bean. Powder, powder, powder. I actually like this more than the Parfum, which has iris, which I really believe is this plus iris. It smells like this fragrance and you add iris to it. And you would think I would like the Parfum more. I actually like the more simplistic side of this fragrance. This has that beautiful spicy tone with the tonka bean that really ties it to the original's DNA, but makes it a softer, more sensual fragrance. And when I say softer and more sensual, it does not lack power, performance. It is stout, it is strong, less is more. Again, with this one, guys. You want to talk about a fragrance that makes Mrs. TLTG go gaga? Armani Code Eau de Parfum. My favorite was the Profumo Flanker, which I've always said smells like laying out a piece of brown leather with a chocolate donut with powdered sugar on top of it. A powdered chocolate donut on leather. I don't know if that sounds good to any of you, but when you smell Armani Code Profumo, great, right? This is superior. Just as wearable. Very much evening appropriate, cooler weather. I've worn this in the daytime in the cooler weather as well. It's another one. Magical. And I say magical because my wife can't stop sniffing me. Can't stop complimenting me. Loves it. Loves it. I encourage you, get your nose on this one. Even though it's not full of florals, doesn't mean it's not full of powder. It's Armani Code Eau de Parfum. Last but not least, one of the 5 best fragrances I've ever smelled in my life. The Dior Homme that I do prefer. Dior Homme Parfum. This is the old 75 ml. This is the one. So I've heard the 100 ml is not as dark, a little fresher, because this has a oud rose rich leather accord. This is more of a leather fragrance. I think it's actually classified as a leather fragrance. It's very leather forward. The iris is not the star of the show here. Though it's a prominent player, it's not the star of the show. And then it transitions greatly into a creamy sandalwood fragrance. It goes from extremely dark and robust and animalic, honestly, into a brighter, blonder, creamy wood fragrance. It's the tale of two it's the tale of two fragrances here. It really is. Son of a... It's so... Never ceases to amaze me. Every single time I smell it. Every single time I smell it. The word masterpiece, right? I throw it around on certain fragrances. This is probably the first one I've ever called a masterpiece in the years that I've been reviewing fragrances on the internet. God, it's still floating in the air. It's so good. It's so good. If you enjoy iris. And it's not a natural iris. It's that fantasy designer makeup bag powder stuff. If you enjoy that, you have to try this. Again, I've never even tried the 100 ml. I've heard it's fresher, but I'm sure it's almost as good, if not just as good. Dior Homme Parfum, guys. Must try. If you like powdery fragrances, if you like iris, you can't convince me that you don't need to try it. because if you do genuinely like that kind of stuff, you owe it to yourself to have the olfactive experience. Even if you end up hating it and you're like, you're crazy. How's that a masterpiece? That is trash shit garbage. I would never buy a bottle of that. Even if that's how you come out of it, at least you have the experience and you know. Everybody's different. But to me, pretty much perfection when it comes to powdery fragrances. Dior Homme Parfum. Well, that's the 10 that I wanted to discuss with you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Please go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys with some of your favorite powdery fragrances. Again, it doesn't have to be just iris. It can be based around rose. It can be based around lavender, tonka bean, the way certain woody nuances get powdery on your skin. This isn't the only 10. This was the 10 that when I walked across the collection and was making my selections on which ones I wanted to feature for this topic, these jumped out at me. A few of them immediately. It's like, gotta have that, gotta have that, gotta have that. Because I could have did 15, I could have did 20, I probably could have did 30, and it'd been a really, really solid list of fragrances. Because there's some good stuff out there. If you like powdery fragrances, there's plenty to experience. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these 10 and you get these experiences and you give them a spray now, you'll probably end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.